All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you all for being here. Today feels like the first stream of the year, even though it isn't. What did I stream? I guess I streamed on Sunday. And I don't know why. I think it was because I was still kind of sick.
Our modest fellowship expands.
And I couldn't talk very well. That it just felt kind of off. Oh my goodness, Zeptimus. Thank you so much for that resub. 72 months. That is amazing. That's a big one. That is 6 years, right? 6 years, Septimus. Thank you so much, man. Man, that's crazy. I was thinking about that the other day, that coming up in March, I think it is, will be my 7-year anniversary on Twitch. It is crazy how time flies, isn't it? 7 years. That is absolutely insane. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to play Far Cry 5 in honor of my 7-year anniversary. I've done it a couple of times in the past, but for those that don't know, that was the very first game that I ever streamed. And I streamed it like literally the day it came out. So that was kind of the game that I guess got me into streaming. I wanted to stream and make content for a very, very long time. I've told the story in the past. It's kind of embarrassing, but I wanted to make content for a really long time. And I kind of hate myself that I didn't start early, but you know, at the end of the day, you can't beat yourself up over that stuff. But I remember I recorded a video back in, I think it was 2009. This was before screen sharing software was really available. Like, I don't even know if OBS was available back then. So I recorded a video of myself playing Dead Space 1. And it was literally like I had pointed a webcam at the screen. You know, I didn't even have a way to like really record the screen. I'm pretty sure there was Fraps back then, but I just didn't know how to. I think what it was is you could only record like 30 seconds or something like that. So anyway, I recorded a session of myself playing Dead Space 1 and never did anything with it. And then like 4 years later, I had all intentions of starting a YouTube channel and making Let's Plays. And I recorded 2 or 3 sessions of Thief, the 2014 Thief game. And I felt very awkward doing it. But at that time I was watching a bunch of other Let's Players, mainly Christopher Odd. And I was like, I really want to do this. I think it would be fun. So I remember recording a couple of sessions of Thief. And I was going to upload it to YouTube, but I was just too scared to do it. Which is so silly. I wish that I still had those recordings, but I'm almost positive that I don't have them anymore. But then in 2018, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I did it, and no one was here, which was very awkward. I really didn't know anyone on Twitch. I didn't really have any friends that were into video games. I felt very alone, and slowly I met other people. I met you guys, and now here we are. It's really cool. Just do it. We're glad you did. Yeah, I'm glad that I did too. Twitch has honestly been, or just streaming and creating content has just been a lot of fun. and I really enjoy it. And I just love video games so much. Like, I can't describe how much I love video games. And it probably sounds cheesy to some people, but I used to feel like really self-conscious about it, because I really just didn't know anyone else that was into games the way that I was for so long. But I think one of the things that helped me a lot when I started streaming is realizing that there's other people out there that share a passion for video games the way that I do. And there's actually a bunch of people that really love video games, and the video game industry is actually massive. Who would have known? And now I'm trying to figure out how to make a career in the games industry. So that's going to be fun and also crazy stressful. But, you know, I always think about, I heard it not that long ago, and I think it was Bill Gates that said it. He probably stole it from someone else, but he said that most people overestimate how much you can do in a year and underestimate how much you can do in 10 years. And I always think about that so much, and it's so true, because I think about 10 years ago, like where I was. I mean, that was in 2014, or well, I guess 2015 now. But like, things were so different in my life. I mean, in some ways, in some ways, things are still very similar. But in a lot of ways, like, I didn't have a house. I hadn't streamed. I hadn't
That was too
gotten
close.
into
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
anything as far as game development related stuff. I hadn't met Aussie the Wolfhound. Welcome in, Aussie. It's good to see you. So I think it's like whenever I try to make plans and goals, I try to think longer term. I mean, I think it's good to have short term goals, you know, maybe month-long goals or yearly goals, but they need to be flexible. And you have to remember that, especially as we get older, like a decade is not that long, which is kind of crazy. Because when you're a kid, it's like your entire life. But there's a lot that can change within 10 years or even 5 years, 5-7 years. And so I try to think of it that way. And then I try to think, like, where will I be in 10 years? I hope I'll still be streaming. And I really hope that I will have, like, a solid career in the games industry by then. I know very few people in real life that are into games, so I still feel a little self-conscious talking about it when what I do in my free time sometimes. Yeah, it's so weird, isn't it? Because, like, I think the estimate now is like 4 billion. There's like 4 billion gamers out there, And I mean, of course, probably a majority of those are very, very casual gamers that, maybe launch a mobile game and play it 10 minutes a day, or, maybe 10 minutes a week or something like that. But there is a massive number of, fairly hardcore gamers, I would call them, people that play a lot of games, play 10 to 20 hours of video games a month or more. I mean, just look at, like, the numbers that the Game Awards brings in. I think it was like 150 million people watched that. So you're not alone. We're not alone. But it is easy to forget that. I think it's just because so many gamers are, not very outgoing. We tend to be a little bit more reserved and stay inside, and I think that's a lot of what it is. But we're out there. Bet your life changed forever after you did meet me. Much more therapy sessions. There's more gamers now than there ever was in history. Well, and truly not just something for kids anymore. I know. Yeah, that's what I felt like for so long. That I felt weird telling people that I played games because my parents, especially, I think, especially my dad, I always felt like he kind of looked down on me a little bit for being into games so much. And I think he definitely had this mentality, and I think a lot of older people do, that, video games are still for kids. But I think that's very quickly dying out because, like, the people that grew up with Nintendo are now getting old, you know, and having kids themselves. And so there's not so much that mentality anymore, which is a good thing because there are a lot of gamers out there and you shouldn't be ashamed of loving games. I figured that we would look at the Steam Awards. They have their winners, and I might play some Astrobot today. I don't know. I kind of just wanted to chat a little bit. Again, I feel like this is kind of the first big stream of the first year of the new year. And so it's kind of fun to do like a recap of things and also look at the months ahead and see what's coming out and just talk a little bit about them. And I like having discussions. So you guys, as always, are welcome to join in and ask questions or bring up topics or anything like that. The 2024 Steam Awards. The winner was Black Myth Wukong. I don't think that is a huge surprise, just by the mass number of people that played that game. The other nominees were Space Marine 2, Stalker 2, Balatro, Helldivers 2. A lot of 2s. I think I voted for Stalker 2. These awards, they're always a little weird to me. You know, they're 100% user voted. And I think it does show why this wouldn't work so great for something like the Game Awards to have it just 100% user voted. Because I don't know if all of these nominees make sense. You know, if I'm being perfectly honest, even though I voted for Stalker 2, I don't know if that is better than some of the other games that came out this year. It's kind of surprising that, like, Metaphor didn't even get a nomination. I feel like that was a lot of people's game of the year. All the games that Septimus hasn't played. Yeah, well, that was my problem. I had only played one of these games. That's the only one that I voted for. You voted for all the categories, but I hardly played any of them. Yeah, and I mean, that's true of a large majority. You know, we got the Steam recap or whatever it was, that I think the average gamer on Steam, or the average Steam user, only played like 10% new games, and by far the large majority were older games. So, you know, I think these categories are kind of hard to get a really clear picture, or maybe it is giving a clear picture of what the majority plays, which is older games. But congratulations to Black Myth Wukong. Then we have the VR game of the year. Winner was Metro Awakening. It's another one of those categories that's like, has anyone even heard of these other ones? I feel like people just voted for Metro Awakening because that was like one that they had actually heard of. We had Davigo. Never heard of that one. Blade and Sorcery I've heard of. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2. And Maestro. which I've never heard of either. That Metro Awakening game does look pretty cool, though. Wonder how is it actually reviewing? It's reviewing pretty well, 75%. Not a huge amount of reviews, but again, VR is not that big. This is a weird one. Labor of Love. And the winner was Elden Ring. Again, this is why I feel like this is just more of a popularity contest instead of people like trying to be a little objective and thinking, you know, which game actually deserves this, because Elden Ring is a fantastic game, no doubt. But isn't the definition of Labor of Love like a best ongoing game that receives like continuous support and that kind of stuff? And I mean, they put out an expansion, but I don't know if that really, if I would really consider that, you know, to be like really significant over. I voted for Baldur's Gate 3. You know, I think that last year especially, they continued to support that game in a really great way. I could see Stardew Valley winning it. You know, that game has been out for how many years and still just continues to receive massive patches. And I think it was last year that it received, what was it, like 1.6 or something like that, which was the really big overhaul that did a bunch of stuff. I don't actually play Stardew Valley, so I don't really know exactly what it was, but I know it was a massive patch that brought a bunch of people back to playing that game. Similarly with No Man's Sky, you know, that game could be, and probably has been, nominated for this category every year since its release, and honestly deserves the recognition, because it is incredible how much support that game continues to get. That game released in 2016, I'm pretty sure, right? So 8 years later, and it is still just receiving, you know, massive free expansions, which is awesome. You know, obviously I wish that that game did better when it was first released, and there's a whole story around it as far as its actual release, but in terms of what they have accomplished since then is very impressive. And then Dota 2, of course. I know nothing about Dota 2, but I do know that it receives a bunch of support. So yeah, Elden Ring as the winner is very weird to me. I feel like it's just because Elden Ring was so popular that it won that. Best game on Steam Deck. This is, I don't know, again, kind of a weird category. It's like, out of all of these, what is the best video game, I guess? At least that's the way that I kind of viewed it. And I was like, well, God of War Ragnarok is a fantastic game. But as far as like an actual category, I feel like, again, if you're trying to look at that and think about, okay, what is actually the best game for a Steam Deck? I feel like maybe Balatro or Deep Rock Survivor would have been a better choice. Again, that one kind of feels like a popularity contest. I do really want to check out Rogue Trader. I've heard really good things about it. One of these days. Next up, Better with Friends Award. Helldivers 2 was the winner. And honestly, I think all of these were pretty good. nominees. I think that this is maybe the first category that I've seen that, like, all of these actually make a lot of sense. We have Sons of the Forest, Space Marine 2, Satisfactory, Pal World, and Helldivers 2. I think Helldivers 2 probably deserves that, but I could see some of these other ones winning that as well. Hello, Danny. Welcome in. Happy New Year to you as well. How are you doing today? Outstanding Visual Style Award goes to Silent Hill 2. That's another interesting one. The other nominations were Neva, Metaphor, which I voted for. I feel like it's hard to beat the style of Metaphor, or really any Atlas game. We also had Hades 2 and Nine Souls. I have really got to try out Nine Souls. I've got it downloaded on Game Pass. I really, really want to check it out. But yeah, the winner was Silent Hill 2, which is kind of a weird one to me for that category. Like, it is a fantastic looking game. But, I mean, the literal description of this award is visual style doesn't aspire to real-world graphical fidelity. It describes a distinctive look and feel that suffices an entire game. I feel like that's the exact opposite of Silent Hill 2. Like, again, Silent Hill 2 looks incredible, but it is a very realistic looking game, and it was made to be very realistic looking. So I feel like for this category, any of these other ones really seem to be much better suited for this category, other than Silent Hill 2. But hey, that's what won. You think you ate too much dessert? What kind of dessert did you have? And you voted for Wukong for what category? For Game of the Year? What did I vote for? I already forgot. Oh yeah, Stalker 2. The only reason I voted for Stalker 2 is because that's literally the only game on here that I played for Game of the Year. Yeah, I think that's deserved. Next up is Most Innovative Gameplay Award. The winner was Liar's Bar. I have not played this game. I know of it. Again, these nominations are they just don't make a lot of sense to me. But I guess I'm probably just thinking too much into this. I don't think people are really thinking about innovation when they nominate these games. I think they're just popularity contests. So it's kind of hard to put a lot of weight on these awards. You know, like when I think about Stalker 2, I don't really know what it is doing that is very innovative. Like, I guess maybe you could say like the A-Life AI system, but that was completely broken when that game released. And also, you know, they did that in the first game, so I wouldn't really call that innovative. Balatro, I honestly don't know anything about Balatro. I feel like I'm very much out of the loop on Balatro. It seems like it's very addicting and everyone loves it. How innovative it is, I don't really know, so I can't really speak much to it. Satisfactory, again, it's a fantastic game. I don't really know if I would say it's incredibly innovative, though. same thing with Helldivers 2. Like, Helldivers 2 is just really solid. It's great gameplay. But is there anything that they're doing in Helldivers 2 that is, you know, like really innovative and never been done before? Maybe Larry's Bar or Liar's Bar does deserve it. This is like the Russian roulette game, right? I think. Dive into the multiplayer online experience set in a sketchy bar where the games are as dangerous as the patrons. Join a table of 4 and test your skills in Liar's Dice and Liar's Deck, where lying and bluffing are key to victory. Ready for a night at yeah. Maybe not Russian roulette, but like a deduction type game. So yeah, I don't know. It does sound like maybe that is the best one out of that category there. Do we have McDonald's over here? Oh yeah. We have a lot of McDonald's. I don't really ever eat at them. I'm not really a big fan of McDonald's. Did you vote for Balatro for this category for most innovative gameplay? I feel like I really need to try Balatro. I don't think I'll like it, but like every time I see it, it has zero appeal to me, but it just seems to be so massive and so loved that I feel like I'm missing out on something. I've never tried the Grimace shake. No, I have only eaten at McDonald's like maybe 5 times in my entire life. I know that I had it a few times as a kid, and then I remember getting it once in high school, and then a long time ago, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try McDonald's again because it just seems like I'm missing something. And so I got a Big Mac, and I thought it was just one of the most disgusting hamburgers I've ever had. I thought it was incredibly bland. It didn't have any flavor. It was dry and overcooked. Maybe I just got a bad one. I don't know. Stop being so judgmental and play the game. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just being honest. Whenever I see it, it just looks like a card game, and I'm just not really into card games. But I also know that everyone says like, oh yeah, it's the card game for people that don't like card games. I also heard people tell me that about Slay the Spire, and I loved Slay the Spire, so maybe I will love Balatro. I don't know. I keep waiting for it to just come onto Game Pass or something like that. I'll try it then. Do yourself a favor and try the Grimace Shake. They're celebrating Grimace's birthday with a Grimace Shake. Tastes like blueberry mixed with whipped cream. So it's like a milkshake? I don't think I've ever even heard of that. But again, I'm really not up to date on McDonald's. I have... This is going to sound really, really snobby, and I don't mean it to sound like this, but I have a problem with most fast food in that I just feel like I can make 90% of the fast food better myself, and I'll enjoy it way more. Like, it's really not hard at all, in my opinion, to make a really good hamburger. And same thing with a milkshake. Like, I feel like I can make a milkshake at least as good, if not better, than pretty much any other milkshake I've ever had. So I just have a really hard time, you know, getting excited about fast food. But blueberry, that does sound pretty good. People are just lazy. I totally get that. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, and like there are times where like I'm lazy too, and I just want a hamburger. I usually, if I'm gonna get a fast food hamburger, it's probably if I want just like cheap fast food, I will usually go to Wendy's. I feel like their burgers are pretty decent. It might be regional too, like, or literally, a local thing that like one Wendy's is better than the other. But the thing that I didn't like about McDonald's is I just didn't feel like there was any flavor in their burgers. Like the meat just tasted dry and flavorless to me. And every time I've gotten a burger at Wendy's, I at least feel like it's juicy and, flavored well. Seems like they actually season it with salt and pepper. I'm not saying that they don't at McDonald's, but I just felt like it was just very gross whenever I tried it. It was just like such a thin patty that I feel like it was just so easy to overcook. So it was just very dry and just very bland. You feel bad afterwards, Daddy, for making your own burgers? Ozzy, you still remember back when people called you lazy for going through the drive-thru? Now we don't even bother leaving the house anymore. Just get it delivered. Yeah. Yeah. The thing about a burger, though, is, to me, I mean, I guess, maybe if you get it delivered, yeah, that is easier. But it's so easy to make a good burger at home and so quick. I can easily make much better and faster a burger at home than I could if I went out and drive, and pick up a burger and bring it back. Oh, you feel bad afterwards after eating at McDonald's? Yeah. The main restaurants that I go to eat at or get takeout from are
Our modest fellowship expands. Praise the sub.
Welcome in, Draco. Thank you so much for the resub. Thank you for 55 months. Welcome in, man. But yeah, the main places that I will go to get takeout from are Chinese and sometimes Mexican and Japanese. It's mostly ethnic foods. And the main reason is because I just cannot cook Chinese like they cook it at the restaurant. Whereas like with a burger or, fried chicken or something like that, like I can replicate, if not make it much better myself, but I just cannot cook Chinese the way that they cook in a restaurant. And I mean, it's because like I don't have the equipment that they have, and I don't have a massive jet engine burner that they can heat their woks up to 10,000 degrees or whatever it is. And similar thing, with like Japanese food. Kind of the same thing with Mexican, although I mean I make Mexican sometimes myself, but I don't know, there's just something about Mexican restaurants. They're just so good, and they're also very cheap too. That's kind of, I guess, the good thing about all of the places. I feel like Chinese, Japanese, Mexican, they're all usually very inexpensive, especially compared to like, if you go and get a steak and baked potato or something like that and end up paying $25. Over here we have Wendy's, exact same company, but here they make ice creams and shakes like Baskin Robbins, and here Burger King is called Hungry Jack's, right? Same company too, yeah. I haven't had Burger King in a really long time. Again, I just don't really eat like those type of fast foods much at all. I couldn't even tell you the last time I got Burger King. Honestly, I don't even remember the last time I've gone to Wendy's. I think it was sometime during the pandemic. I remember getting it then. We have a place called Checkers here. It's also called Rallies, depending on where you are in the country. I don't know if they have those outside of the US. I've gotten a burger from there before. Those are not bad. I think I went there during the pandemic once as well. I used to really like Panera bread. I don't know if you guys have those. But they got so crazy expensive. I used to really love getting the Asian sesame chicken salad and the broccoli cheddar soup. And you used to be able to get like a combo of both of those for like $7 or $8. Now it's like $20 for that or something. It's insane. And the thing is, now you can literally buy the soup like in the grocery store, and they even sell the dressing like for the salads. So I can literally just make all of the stuff from Panera at home now for like a fraction of the cost. You like PF Chang? I think I've had that one time. I think I went there my brother-in-law's birthday. They had a birthday dinner there, and I went there. I thought it was okay. It was kind of overpriced though, I thought. Again, I feel like any chain restaurant like PF Chang's or Panda Express, they're just never as good as like the locally owned Chinese place, you know, just like with the little tiny place that has the grandma running the register and the grandpa and son in the back making the food. Like, those are the places that are so good and usually very cheap. You make pretty good Chinese rice and General Tso's chicken? Really? From scratch? Yeah, I've tried to make it before, and I've gotten okay, but it's a lot of work, especially if you're gonna like fry the chicken. I hate frying foods. It's just so much work, and I feel like it always makes such a mess, and then you have to like figure out what to do with the oil afterwards. So I really never fry foods at home, which is honestly good, because fried food is definitely not good for you. Oh, do you use an air fryer? Personally, I say small local places are always better than big chain restaurants, especially with pizza. Yes, that is very true. There's a local place down the road for me that makes Domino's look like garbage. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that, Ozzy. I will say, every now and then I do get, like, to me, I consider, when it comes to pizza, I consider, like, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, I consider those like a completely different thing, almost. And I don't hate them by any means. And, like, sometimes I do get a craving for, like, Pizza Hut, you know? But if you want, like, just a really good, authentic pizza, then those are not the places for it. Fortunately, we have two places that are pretty decent. We don't have a lot of pizza, sadly, where I live. Now, in Nashville, which is pretty close to me, it's not really close enough to, like, just go to pick up a pizza, but they do have some really good places. There's this one place that I really love called 5 Points. And it's just like really, really solid New York style pizza. Really big slices, thin crust, really good crust. They're really, really solid. I really like them. Air fryers are the best way to cook food. Yeah. I I mean, it depends. Like, I don't want to use an air fryer for everything. There's some things that I still want an oven for, but air fryers are really great. Hello, Ignited Gamer. Welcome in. For Christmas, like 3 or 4 years ago, I got a it's an air fryer, but it's more of like a convection oven. I mean, convection oven is basically an air fryer, but it's more like an oven mainly, and it also has an air fryer in it. It works so incredibly well. It works so much better than like the traditional air fryers that have like the basket or whatever. This is just like an oven, but it has a large basket that you can use and has the fans in it, really, really powerful fans that work so much better. I think it's made by Ninja. Maybe not. It's more like one of these. It's not a double-decker. And it's not one of these type of things. It's like an actual oven, and I like it so much. Oh, wait, I think it's this. Yeah, I don't know if this is the exact same one, but it's very similar to this. You can use it just like a regular oven, but then it has air fryer features, which, like I said, work better than any traditional air fryer like one of these that I've had. I also think it's just way easier to clean because you just have like a little basket like this instead of a entire thing that you pull out. You like Shake Shack? Shake Shack is good. I think it's solid. But again, I think I would just rather have like a good homemade burger. Air fryers are the best for casual cooking, you're not gonna lie. I've always wondered what's the difference between air fryer and convection oven. Yeah, there is no difference. Like, convection ovens have been around for a long time, and air fryer is basically just like a marketing term. And I mean, like, bravo to whoever came up with that idea, because it was a great idea. But yeah, there really isn't any difference. Air fryers have a fan in it. Well, that's what a convection oven is as well. A convection oven is just like a traditional oven, but it has a fan in it, which does the exact same thing to move the air around. Yeah, I mean, I think that like the more modern air fryers, they are designed a little bit better to move the air a little bit more efficiently. But like I said, that one that I got, I think it works way better than any. I had one of those traditional, air fryers that has the bucket on it or whatever, and it worked okay. And I've used other ones like that work pretty good. But honestly, that one that I got, I like it so much better than any of the other air fryers that I've used. So they're basically the same thing, just maybe a bit more controlled for specific things. Yeah. The original convection ovens were those light bulb mini ovens you could make cupcakes in. Oh, are you talking about like the Easy Bake oven? Like the toy ovens that you could actually make food in? Yeah, I think my sister had one of those. Okay, anyway, back to the Game Awards. Best game you suck at. This is another kind of weird one. Black Myth Wukong was the winner. The other nominees were the finals. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Ghost of Tsushima, that's a really weird nomination. Like, I don't really think Ghost of Tsushima is that difficult. Tekken 8. Kind of the same thing with Black Myth Wukong. Like, I haven't played it, but I've heard that it is challenging, but not, like, exceptionally difficult. Again, I feel like this is just a little bit of a popularity award here that it was given to Black Myth. I could see the finals. That makes sense. That game requires a lot of skill. And then the other two games are fighting games, which obviously require a lot of skill, and I definitely suck at. The convection part of a convection oven just refers to the blowing around of the air to cook with. If it just uses heat without blowing, it's a more regular oven. Yeah. All of these awards felt like popularity awards, in my opinion. I haven't even played most of the nominees. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. And this is why, you know, there's a lot of people that say, at, like, the Game Awards, that it should be 100% audience voices. And I think that would just be a disaster. Because, like, some of these just don't make any sense. Like, we just talked about the most innovative gameplay. You know, like, there's not really anything that innovative about Helldivers or Stalker. This one I think is maybe the weirdest one, the outstanding visual. Hi, Hacking, welcome in. You know, clearly people don't even read this or don't even think about this, because the description literally says visual style doesn't aspire to be real world graphical fidelity. And the only one that was nominated and won was a game that is aspiring to be real world and realistic looking. Whereas all of the other ones should have won, in my opinion, over Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is a great game, but when it comes to outstanding visual style, I think that Neva, especially Metaphor, Hades 2, Nine Souls, I think those all are vastly superior than Silent Hill 2. So yeah, these are just, they are very strange. The best soundtrack is a game that came out 14 years ago. Red Dead Redemption. Again, that was just kind of weird. You know, technically did come out this year on PC. Remember the KFC console? It was going to basically be the same thing, using generated heat the console produced to heat. Oh, yeah. KFC has come out with some wild stuff in the gaming department. Didn't they release a couple of games, I think? There was like the Dream Daddy Simulator or whatever it was. There was nothing innovative about Stalker or Helldivers. Those they're the same things that have been done before 10 times over. Yeah, I mean, I think with Stalker, you could maybe say that, like, the A-Life AI system was innovative, but that was completely broken when that game came out. Didn't work at all. So I kind of find that hard to give that to that game. Let's see. What were the other games that were nominated for Best Soundtrack? Silent Hill 2, Horizon Forbidden West, Frostpunk, and Fate Stay the Night. I have not heard of Fate Stay the Night. I mean, Red Dead does have great music. Again, it's just kind of weird because that is such an old game. Outstanding Story, Rich Game, was given to Black Myth Wukong. It's another popularity one, I think. I feel like I've heard a lot of good things about Black Myth. I feel like the story is not particularly one of the highlights. I mean, I haven't heard bad things about it necessarily, but from what I've heard, it's just, pretty average. The other games nominated here, Stalker 2, that's kind of a weird one to me. Mouthwashing, I think, makes sense. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, that makes sense. Final Fantasy 16, I think the story in Final Fantasy 16 is very good. That's what I voted for. Sit Back and Relax Award was given to Farming Simulator 25. That makes perfect sense. I voted for Tiny Glade. We have TCG Card Shop Simulator, House Flipper 2, Web Fishing. I think these are all good nominations. I still really want to play Tiny Glade. Mouthwashing wasn't as amazing as people seem to think it was, in my opinion. It was just another horror game with a weird story like they all do. I'm not sure why it got so much attention. I did watch someone play it and kind of run of the mill for me. Yeah, I'm really, really curious to try it. I do feel like it is... I feel like I need to go into it and really lower my expectations just because it has been so hyped up. So when I do play it, I'm really curious about it. I still don't know anything about it. I'll try to go in, with as open mind as I can, an open mind as I can. I'm very curious about it. I feel like in the same kind of category, and maybe this would be even a better choice, I feel like Indica. I'm kind of surprised, or I guess maybe I'm not kind of surprised because that wasn't really as popular. And Mouthwashing is one of those that it's weird how, some games like that, for whatever reason, probably it did very well streaming. There were probably some really big streamers and YouTubers that picked that game up, and that was just the game for whatever reason that caught on. But I did hear really good things about Indica. Again, I'm kind of trying to keep in the same category of horror. From what I heard, that game was really good and really interesting and very weird. Zeptimus does love some Farming Simulator. It's really fun and relaxing for you. Yeah, I 100% get that. It's very similar to SnowRunner for me, Speaking of which, I am incredibly excited for Roadcraft, which is their next game that's coming out that is similar to SnowRunner, except that you get to actually rebuild the roads and rebuild the town. I hope that's coming out pretty soon. I know it's supposed to come out this year. It wasn't a bad story, but it was pretty standard for horror games. I watched CJU play Mouthwashing before it became popular, and it didn't really feel like it stood out for me particularly. Yeah. It's weird how those, you know, those random games just kind of catch on in popularity. Um, look, I haven't ever played one of these, so maybe I can't really judge it, but I'm continuously perplexed why Five Nights at Freddy's is popular. And I mean, I think the reason is because Markiplier and, PewDiePie, they played these games and they have really good jump scares and make for really good reactions. But every time I've seen that game, it just looks so incredibly dull to me. And maybe the other ones, like maybe the newer games, there is more to it. I really don't know, but I'm pretty sure like the original ones, like you didn't really even move around in them, did you? You just like went to different areas basically and just like looked around a corner and just waited for a jump scare to happen. I don't know. I think probably everyone here knows that I am not a big fan of jump scares in games. I don't mind a jump scare at all when it's used appropriately and sparingly, but if your entire game is just nothing but jump scares, that just does nothing for me. That was one of the reasons that I really didn't like Outlast very much, is because I felt like that game was so formulaic, and I could just tell that there was going to be a jump scare almost every time it happened. I was like, okay, I'm going to go around the corner and there's going to be a guy in a wheelchair and he's going to jump out at me, and I'm going to go around a corner and there's going to be a guy hanging there and I'm going to walk up to him and he's going to jump scare me. And I don't know, that game just never did anything for me. You think Five Nights at Freddy's is purely popular because of the YouTubers? The games themselves are very basic. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Well, that was the Steam Awards. Congratulations to the winners. Why don't we look briefly at what games are coming out this year? My go-to is always the Wikipedia page for video games in the current year. I feel like it's always a good list that they put together and is kept up to date. There's a bunch of lists out there, but I feel like this one is usually the most thorough. So, in January, I don't think that we have a lot this year. Let's see. Not seeing a whole lot. We have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming to PC. That's definitely noteworthy. That's on January 23rd. Eternal Strands. That sounds really familiar. I think this was like a Souls-like, wasn't it? I think this is even maybe out in early access. Oh no, I guess not. Fight epic towering creatures while blending magical abilities with an arsenal of powerful weapons to keep the world from crumbling in this third-person action adventure game. Yeah, I remember seeing this. I thought that there was like maybe there was a playtest or something that was done. This looks interesting. I mean, it does look a little generic, but who's making this? Yellow Brick Games. First game. I feel like maybe they are industry veterans. Do we think these are the actual developers, or are these just random AI generated people? This website feels very much like template that they just put together. Okay, these look like real people. Jeff. Thank you, Grandma, for buying me an NES back in 1987. Put me on this path. That's cool. I wonder if they're hiring. I need a job. Proudly based in Quebec. Satellite office in Montreal. They do not have any jobs listed. But anyway, I know I remember seeing this game. It was at like a Summer Games Fest or Tokyo Game Show or something like that. A lot of games are only popular because of big streamers playing them and yelling. Yeah, very true. Moving on. Sniper Elite Resistance. That's coming out on January 30th. I played like one Sniper Elite game, and then I tried another one, and it just felt like the exact same game. And I feel like every time I see these games, they just always look exactly the same. But people sure do love them. They seem to have found their niche, and they own that market pretty good. So more power to them. I just wish so much they would do something else other than World War II. It just feels like the exact same game every single time. And it's weird because it seems like a category of games that I should love. You know, it's like stealth heavy sniper type gameplay. And again, like I did enjoy the one that I played. I think it was 3 or something like that. I thought it was okay. But then trying the other ones, they just all felt so much way too similar. Which again, maybe is a good thing, you know, if you have an audience that really loves those. But that's coming January 30th. Sniper Elite V2 is the best. It might have been that one that I played. It was one of the early ones. We also have Spider-Man 2 coming to PC on the 30th. I can feel my throat wavering. I'm gonna pop in a cough drop. What is reset? No, that sounds familiar. Okay, I remember seeing this somewhere. 2D kind of platformy. Is it a Metroidvania? It doesn't say Metroidvania, it just says platformer. Today's games. Oh, they have a demo. Presumably this is their first game. This is not a great name for your studio. Today's Games Studio? Let's try that. There we go. Oh, it is an atmospheric Metroidvania set in the murky world of mechanical dystopia. I do kind of like the art style. I always love a good Metroidvania. Not like we're getting Silksong anytime soon. Alright. Well, that's coming out January 31st. February, moving into February, we have February 4th, we have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know a lot of people are excited for that one. I am excited for those people that are excited. I wish I was excited. I wish I could share the excitement for Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I just did not like the first game at all. I also think I just was always turned off by it being a purely historical game and, you know, not being any kind of fantasy aspects to it. It just never really interested me. Are you excited for it, Danny? I know a lot of people are, and I hope that they do well. That game was delayed a couple of times, I believe, and I know a lot of people were excited about it coming out last year. So with it being delayed into February, I hope it does well. It's up against some big competition in February, because on the 11th we have Civilization 7. That's going to be a big one. Also, Rift of the Necrodancer, I'm assuming, is that a sequel to Crypt of the Necrodancer? It must be, right? Yeah. Crypt of the Necrodancer. And then we also have Assassin's Creed Shadows on February 14th. I am personally really excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think that game, I have thought that game looks very good, really ever since it was originally revealed. I am very worried about that game because it's Ubisoft. And my goodness, people love to hate on Ubisoft nowadays. Not saying that they don't deserve some hate. Maybe criticism. I'm not a big fan of throwing around hate. But I've thought many times that I want to write a paper on what I would do if I was in charge of Ubisoft. I really just need to do that. I feel like it's perplexing to me how far Ubisoft has fallen. I remember a time when, even though Ubisoft still got a lot of criticism, you know, for having like the open world formula, I remember a time thinking this, and I still believe this is true, at like maybe between like 2011 to 2014, 15, I believe that Ubisoft had some of the most talented, specifically artists, but just game developers in general working for them. And if you look at nothing else other than just the Assassin's Creed games, the level of quality in terms of art and just how incredible those games looked, there was just nothing else like that at that time, with that insane amount of quality. And especially for a series that they were putting out those games like every year, you know? Draco had zero interest in Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I still feel that way about the next one. Yeah, I wish I was excited, but yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. Have I seen the latest parkour video? For Assassin's Creed, I have not. I really haven't watched much about Assassin's Creed lately. How do you spell Assassin's Creed? Shadows trailer. Do you know when it was posted? You found it on Twitter? Was it on like the official Ubisoft account? Oh, is it right here? I see parkour. Parkour. Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like every Assassin's Creed game is always just 10 out of 10 when it comes to animation quality and production level. It's not that one. Was it a longer video? Good gracious. Zoom out a little bit there. Oh my goodness. There, I was born in 1905. It looks good. Parkour down. Oh, this is what we just saw on Twitter. It's kind of weird that they just have like these really short little videos.
Why would someone be over here?
Man, it really looks good. I'm really excited about the seasons. The way that unless they change this, I hope they didn't change this, but I know that they were talking about, you know, there would be different seasons, such as you would have winter and there would be snow, and so that would affect the gameplay differently as opposed to in the spring or summer or things like that. Hello, Cyber. First Assassin's Creed I'll play since Black Flag. Yeah, Black Flag is and has been my favorite Assassin's Creed for a long time. Even though I think it's not a great Assassin's Creed game, I think it's just such a great pirate game. And oh my goodness, I have such fond memories of playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And the main character, Kenway, is one of my favorite characters. Maybe one of my favorite characters ever in a video game. Like, I genuinely felt a connection with Kenway. And the connections that you have with the other characters in that game, the friendships that you make, the way that game ends, I never will forget finishing that game and having that beautiful music that plays at the end, and him meeting his daughter, it just left me with like such a melancholy feeling and just such a like, oh man, like I'm sad that this is over. It really felt like I went on a journey. There's another video where she goes over a lake and is frozen and she slips. Oh, interesting. And so presumably that will be like a seasonal thing too, that like maybe you could cross the lakes when it's in winter because it's frozen, and then, you know, during the summer, like I guess maybe you could swim, but it would be different. What makes a good Assassin's Creed game? Is a good setting in your opinion? And Black Flag is the best. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. I think that is what makes a great Assassin's Creed game, is the setting. I think the thing about Black Flag is it was just so different with it being on the sea for the most part. I think, if I'm being honest, I think there might be settings that I like a little bit more in terms of like a purely Assassin's Creed game. But again, that kind of goes back to my thoughts that like Black Flag, I don't think was a great Assassin's Creed game, but it was just a great game. Whereas I think Assassin's Creed 2, I think, was really, really good as far as the setting. The traversal was a lot of fun there. I think, what was the one in London? Syndicate. I really, really liked Syndicate. I loved Origins. And then I didn't really play enough of the last two. I mean, I played a lot, but those games are like 200 hours long that I didn't really play enough. I thought those games were good, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Black Flag that I don't know if we'll ever get that will be that good. But again, I think this one looks really, really good, and I'm really excited for this. I am just worried that the discourse around Ubisoft will overpower the game itself. And, you know, I mean, look, maybe Ubisoft deserves it, but it does really make me sad. The same thing would happen with Star Wars Outlaws. Like, I think that is a really good game, and it seems like it just got hated on so much just because it was Ubisoft, you know? So I hope, if this game is truly good, like, I hope it gets the credit that it will be deserved. I wish the Paris one was less broken. So, yeah. I mean, I think it is, like, totally fine now, right? I've always wanted to go back and play that, or replay that one. I played a good amount of that one. But I never finished it. And I know that there are some people, I know DeCellis in our community, he really loves, I'm blanking on the name of that one. What is the name of that one? Oh my goodness, what is it called? Assassin's Creed Unity. There we go. Yeah, I really want to go back and play Unity again. That game still looks incredible. Danny, you think the animations look pretty cool in this game? Yeah, they definitely do. You gonna buy it, Danny? I'm not big in Monster Hunter or any of the other February games. I think I'll enjoy this one a lot. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a month of Ubisoft Plus or whatever it's called. Can't even remember what they call it now. and play it that way. But I'm very excited for it. The next set of Tomb Raider remasters are coming out for 4 through 6. I still want to go back and play, or at least try out those originals. Oh yeah, we have Avowed coming out on February 18th. That'll be a big one for sure. I am very, very curious to see how that does. I feel like I've heard pretty good things from the previews that people have done for it. It's always hard to say with those things, though. Just have to wait and see how it does. You know, Obsidian has been very hit or miss for me. There's some games that I love by them, and there's some games that I just have thought have been very mediocre. And I feel like Avowed could go either way. You forgot about Avowed? Yeah. I hope too many people don't forget about Avowed. I could see it kind of getting lost. They announced Avowed for PS5 yet? I don't believe they have. I feel like that's one of those that, depending on how it does, will forge its decision on whether it comes to PS5 or not. I hope that game is amazing, but I don't know. Everything I've seen about it just doesn't really give me a ton of confidence. But I hope it's good. Maybe it will at least satisfy us and hold us over till we get Elder Scrolls 6. I think some people are already reviewing it. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a good sign if it's already out in reviewers. Wait, for Avowed? Really this early? I can't imagine it would... I mean, that would be really, really early for review builds, right? I know there have been previews for it. You bet it'll come at some point. Draco, you're skeptical of Avowed until I see it in action. I remember some of the early teaser videos making me cringe a bit with their voice acting and stuff. Yeah, same. The only thing I don't like is that I feel some mechanics have gotten stuck in time. Yeah, I'm worried that it's gonna feel too much like Skyrim. And like some people may think like, oh, that's a great thing. I love Skyrim, but you know, I talked about this a lot when Starfield came out. I think that if Skyrim came out today, I think it would receive a lot of criticism. Skyrim is obviously very beloved by a bunch of people, myself included. But I can't deny that like the gameplay and especially the combat is just awful in Skyrim. I don't think I've ever really thought it was that good. And we've come a long way since 2011 in terms of third-person action games and even first-person action games or action-adventure games. And especially in terms of combat. I mean, like, if you just think about, like, you know, the FromSoft journey, like, the Demon Souls came out in 2009, right? I think it was 2009. And then I think, did Dark Souls come out in 2011 or 12? Right around the same time as Skyrim. And I think, obviously, you know, the entire world has looked at Dark Souls and taken huge inspirations from the gameplay there. Rightfully so, because I think the gameplay is just so good in Dark Souls in terms of combat. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, Skyrim needs to, or Elder Scrolls or Avowed or whatever, needs to just copy Dark Souls, but there has just been a really big evolution in terms of gameplay and combat in those types of games. The game was technically ready last year for Avowed. Draco, I'm also one of the rare people who thinks Fallout New Vegas was overrated compared to the rest of the franchise, so I'm not as devout of an Obsidian fanboy. Yeah, I feel like New Vegas is a little overrated now. I feel like at the time when it came out, I feel like at least in the circles that I was in, which maybe was not a very big circle, but I feel like the view was like, this is a good game, not like greatest game of all time, which I think some people kind of put it in that category now. And I'm with you as well. I think that like it has some really good writing. It still just suffers so much in the gameplay department though. And I mean, a lot of it is that engine that they're using. But, it's very similar to Fallout 3 in terms of gameplay, and I think Fallout 3 is really rough in terms of gameplay. I think the story's good, but man, especially after playing Fallout 4, and then even more so to me after playing Starfield, I think it would honestly be really hard to go back to that gameplay. Even in Fallout 4, I feel like the step up in combat in Starfield was so good. I feel like Starfield is like at least at a pretty decent first-person shooter level now. It's not greatest shooter of all time, but I feel like it's really solid. And honestly feel like it doesn't get enough credit for that. Because, man, if you go back and play something like Fallout 3, it is rough. It's really, really rough. Ignited Gamer says, I don't understand why Astrobot is the best video game of 2024. Well, as someone who is playing Astrobot currently, I think there's a bunch of things in Astrobot that appeal to a lot of older gamers. There is a very heavy amount of nostalgia that I personally don't have for a lot of things, but they appeal to a lot of gamers in the same way that Nintendo games appeal to a lot of gamers. And nostalgia aside, I think it's just a really, really, really solid, fun video game. And I think that is something that Nintendo does so great, right? Is their games are just pure fun. They put so much work into the little tiny details of just the little animations and little things that they do, and it's so evident in Astrobot. Just the way that like you rotate the camera around and the little Astrobot waves at you, or the way that you jump in the water and he has a little inflatable thing that comes out to where he can swim around in. Just the amount of detail in the physics items that are in that game, where like when you walk through the leaves, it just nicely moves them out of the way. There are just so many wonderful little things like that in Astrobot that just makes it fun and a pleasure to play. It's perfectly fine to not like it, and you may just be someone that doesn't really like platformers. I'm not a huge platformer fan myself. and again, like, I don't have a lot of the nostalgia for the characters that you find, but even I cannot deny that, like, that is just a fantastic game, and you can just really, really feel how much passion went into making that game. And I think that that is just one of the many reasons that people consider it one of the greatest games of 2024. February is insane. There's like 6 games that you want to play. Yeah, February is looking really good. For all the hate Fallout 4 gets from people, the gameplay and engine are far superior to 3 in New Vegas, yeah. Making for a more enjoyable gaming experience overall. Yeah, absolutely. And then that's what I'm saying, that I think that there's such a big leap from 3 in New Vegas to 4, and then there's, I would say, a pretty similar leap in terms of gameplay. Maybe not quite as big, but a pretty big leap in terms of especially gunplay from Fallout 4 to Starfield. Also, I think Astrobot is loved so much because, along with Astra's Playroom, it's basically the PlayStation universe itself made into a universe. Yeah, that's what I mean kind of by there's so much nostalgia in it that, you know, I mean, it really does, like, blow my mind just how much people love PlayStation. You know, when you look at, like, the 35th anniversary PlayStation, that people are begging to pay Sony $1,200 for that thing. Like, it's just a PlayStation that's gray and has a, you know, retro PS5 logo on it. But it is incredible how much that brand means to people. And it's something that I don't fully understand, and, you know, I just can't understand because I didn't have a PlayStation growing up. But it is clear that there is a huge love in kind of a weird way, if I'm being honest. I've never I've never loved something that much, or felt that strongly about something that I just, like, want to give my money to this giant corporation. But there's a lot of people out there that are like that. PlayStation, the game. I'll never be a diehard console soldier. Whatever one has the games I prefer more, I'll purchase, I say as a PC gamer. I still remember when the PS1 came out and it was at least $500 here, and the very first was a snowboarding game. Was it SNX? I'm just guessing. I don't really know. Yeah, I think the great thing about games as an adult is that I can have a PC, I can have a PlayStation, I can have a Nintendo console, and I don't have to choose what game, you know, what game I play. If there's a game that I want to play and it's only on PlayStation, I'll play it on PlayStation. If it's only on Switch, I'll play it on Switch. If it's available on everything, I'll play it on PC. I have no real allegiance other than preferences. You know, I usually prefer to play on PC, and that's just because I like playing with a mouse and keyboard most of the times. I like having the options of raising or lowering settings if I want to. I like having the options of being able to mod the games in the future. And, you know, in general, I can still go back and play PC games from the 90s and early 2000s, where that's a little bit harder to do with consoles. Even though Xbox has done a really great job with backwards compatibility. You know, you can play most of those old Xbox games on your new Xbox now, but can't really say the same thing for Nintendo. Even though they've done a decent job, I guess. It's kind of frustrating the way that they do it, where they either just remaster a game that you have to buy over or put it on some service like Nintendo Online where you can't even buy the game, which is very frustrating. And then on the other end, you have PlayStation, which has just been very frustrating to me in that it's such a shame that there are hundreds and hundreds of games, if nothing else, on the PS3 that there's just no way to play those games, you know? And I get that it's a very hard problem and emulation is very difficult with the PS3, but my goodness, like, you got some of the greatest minds in the world. They should be able to figure out how to do it. And I'm sure that they could. I just don't know if it's worth it for them. I really, really hope that when the PS6 comes out, that they will just be able to emulate PS3 easily enough, and also PS2 and PS1 games. It would be, like, to me, that would truly be a system seller if they come out with the PS6 and they say, you can play every single PlayStation game, you know, all the way back to the original. That would be really cool. Ozzy, you recently got a PS3 again, because I believe it or not, online PSN still works on it, and there's still PS3 Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection scene. So I bought it. I bought one just so I can play Mortal Kombat online with other people. Yeah, I mean, how long is PSN on PS3 going to still be available? I thought that they had, like, phased it out, at least the ability to purchase things. But it is still available. That's impressive. But I mean, it definitely won't be available forever, which that's really a shame. Yeah, I agree with you, Ozzy. You can still buy games. Wow. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's continue moving on. We have Avowed on the 18th, February 18th. We also have Lost Record, Bloom, and Rage. This is the new Don't Nod game. If you like those games, you like those games. I do like those games, so I'm kind of curious about that one. Wouldn't mind checking that one out. I actually come up in your friends list. Oh, wow. I do have a PS3. I have not turned it on in years. I literally bought a PS3 so that I could play Demon's Souls. That was the only reason that I bought a PS3. I bought a PS3 after the PS4 came out. I think I played a couple of other games on there, but it was literally a Demon's Souls machine for me. And now we have Demon's Souls on PS5, so there's not a lot of reason for me to play that. Although, I say that, I mean, there are some, like I was just saying, there are hundreds of games that are on the PS3 that I never got around to playing. So, who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll boot it up. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, February 21st. We also have Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. That's a big one. Wow, and then February 28th, we have Monster Hunter Wilds. I know a lot of people are very excited for that. I know Draco's excited for that. That'll be here before we know it. Moving into March, we have 2-Point Museum. I love those 2-Point games. I can see myself spending a lot of time in 2-Point Museum. We also have Split Fiction. That's from Hazelight Studios. Those games are always great, and I imagine this one will be very good as well. We have Wonder Stop. I'm very curious about this game. This is from the guy. What was the game that he made? Oh yeah, Stanley Parable. This is the game that the developer is just saying that he is making a cozy little simulator game, and no one believes him. And I'm almost nervous for him because I feel like he's kind of like in a difficult position, because if it is just a cozy simulator game, I feel like people are going to be disappointed. And if it's not, I feel like people are going to be like, you lied. I'm very, very curious about that game, though. How do people even keep up with the Yakuza series anymore? Honestly, I don't know, Cyber. It's wild. Because, yeah, they come out with so many games, and every one of them is like 80 hours long. I still haven't played Infinite Wealth. I really want to play it. Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon was one of my favorite games whenever that came out, whatever year that was. Ichiban is one of my favorite characters of all time. I genuinely want him to be a real person and want to be able to go and hang out with Ichiban. Hey, Reality. I have played the Beginner's Guide. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's very, very good. Okay. Moving on. We have the second part. Is this going to be... How many parts is Lost Records going to be? Is it like a 5-part thing? I guess they're still doing the whole episodic type thing with those games. Xenoblade Chronicles X. I believe this is the last Wii U exclusive that's coming to Nintendo Switch. I think pretty much every Wii U exclusive is now on the Nintendo Switch as well, which is good. On March 25, we have Tales of the Shire. I want to like this game so bad, but I hate to say this, but the art style just really turns me off. And I can't really put my finger on it. It just doesn't feel right to me. It just feels too cartoonish, I think it is. But I want this game so much. I'm definitely going to try this game because I feel like this is the perfect kind of game that I would enjoy. Just a super cozy little life sim game that you get to play with hobbits, where you just, have your own little shire. You think this looks good? I don't know what it is about my brain that doesn't like the way that it looks. Because I feel like the art style in other games, like it's similar to other games that I think is very pretty. But there's just something about this one that just turns me off. If they were like 30 hours, I'd be pushing it, but doable. Yeah. It's the naked feet. Draco, you're not a fan of the art style either. Would have preferred more realism. Yeah. I think that's what it is for me too. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. We have Atom Fall. I'm very curious if this game is actually going to come out. It feels like a game that is going to get delayed. This is the game that always reminds me of Atomic Heart, which is another game that I always keep thinking like, man, I really want to go back and play that game. But yeah, Atomfall is scheduled for March 27th. Also coming to Game Pass. I think the first Berserker Kazan is a terrible name, but I think this game looks really good.
Rank up. Hold the
Don't know if anyone remembers this game besides me.
Not fall.
Matt Bookman, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. I have heard some really good things about this game from people that have played it in previews. Oh, this is all cinematics. Let me find like actual gameplay. Oh yeah, they had a closed beta test. I remember, I think I even downloaded this and didn't play it.
Really like it.
Hello, Matt. Welcome. How are you? Thank you so much for the raid. You guys be sure to go over and follow Matt if you haven't already. It looks very Souls-like to me. The movement looks really solid. The gameplay itself just looks really, really solid. I know there are 100 Souls-like games out there nowadays, but I think this looks really good. I am doing good, Matt. I feel like I'm almost fully recovered from being sick.
So I think the game wants you to focus.
Still coughing just a tiny little bit. I really have been itching for a Souls-like game lately. I was looking at Lords of the Fallen. I need to try that out. I really want to try out Black Myth, but I keep waiting for it to drop in price. I don't know if it ever is going to drop in price.
Keep hitting A instinctively.
Literally looks like an Elden Ring soldier. Same helmet and outfit. Yeah, it's very, very Souls-y. But I think if I remember right, there's like you can like build up a charge or something and then go into like a berserker mode and just go completely crazy for a certain amount of time.
Oh, nice.
And it looks really cool.
Breakdown. Love it.
This is not really a great representation of it, I feel like. Everything just looks really solid though. Very curious to try it out. Let's move on. We have Killing Floor 3 is currently TBA for March. Kind of curious about that one. Moving in, we'll move a little bit faster here. We have Last of Us 2 Remastered, which I don't think anybody asked for, but that's coming. I think it's coming to PC on April 3rd. Ooh, Revenge of the Savage Planet. Currently TBA May. I'm very excited for that. I loved... I'm blanking on the name of the first one. Journey to the Savage Planet. I really, really liked that game. This is the sequel to that, so I'm very excited for that. Hopefully that will stick within that May release date. Not too far away. And then it's really, really sparse. If you can't make your own character in a Souls-like, you won't play it. I stick to my guns. Fair enough. But yeah, we do not have a lot scheduled on the schedule past March. Not much in the way of hard release dates. I feel like we should have some announcements. I feel like we're due for a Nintendo Direct. I feel like we're due for a Sony State of Play. Like when was the last State of Play? When was the last State of Play? Yeah, September. So it's been going on 3 months or 4 months. I definitely feel like it's time for a State of Play. I also feel like Xbox usually does a showcase around the new year as well. So hopefully we'll get some announcements and get some actual dates on the calendar. There's a lot of unscheduled dates. I won't go through all of these. I feel like my voice is fading, so I'm probably going to hop off of here. But yeah, this was fun to look through. Have I heard of the unannounced reality? Oh, Indirect. It's coming real soon. The Indirect. No, I haven't, but that sounds exciting. Have to keep us up. Let us know when that's going to happen. I will be here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today, though. This was fun. I enjoyed going through all of the Steam Awards and kind of looking through some of the games that are coming out. It's happening at HalCon. Live from HalCon. The Reality O Indirect. I will, Reality. A stupid wall, it deserves it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I will be back on Thursday. We'll probably play some games then. And look forward to chatting with you guys as always. Oh yeah, I didn't mention it, but the new graphics cards got announced. Not that I can afford it, but one of these days I'm gonna need to upgrade my computer. And probably gonna go with one of those. Gonna have to sell a kidney. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. As always, you guys are wonderful. Thank you for all of the support, amazing support over the years. Like I mentioned earlier, coming up on 7 years of streaming, which is just absolutely insane. I really appreciate you guys, as always. Get it before the scalpers, I know. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day or night, and I will see you again on Thursday. Bye, everyone.